What up? We are DV, and today is
Tuesday.
Tuesday, March 11th, I believe. March 11th,
Yeah, I think it's March 11th.
2025. So yeah, man. Follow your calling.
Right.
Following your soul's calling.
Let me ask you a question. If you followed your soul's calling, could change your entire life, your whole life, just by following your soul's calling. If you were to follow that right now, today, how do you think it would change your entire life if you did? Answer that question. If you were to follow that soul's calling, if it could change your entire life, would you do it? That's a better question. If it could change your entire life, would you do it? Right? It's not that easy of an answer, honestly, because a lot of people probably already figured out that and heard that it can change your entire life. Yet, a lot of people are afraid to still do it. Either they're afraid, or they've been told don't do it because they feel controlled by either a family member or cultural, things, or societal, pressure tells you to do this instead of that. But regardless of all those things, if you could and it would change your life, would you still follow it? Right? Would you? Me, I have. Still doing it. Right? Still struggle with it sometimes though. Because I deal with some of those things we were just talking about as far as societal control, cultural control, or expectations, right? Or even just personal fears of failure. Honestly, fears of failure. And even more, what they don't talk about that I saw myself face was a fear of success. That's crazy, right? Fear of success. You think, why would you be fearful of winning? We all want to do that, right? But it gets a little deeper if you think about it. For me, what I figured out was I had a fear of success more than I had a fear of failure. I had failed a million fucking times in my life. I've failed more than I've actually won. But I'm grateful for it. But that's another conversation. The point I'm trying to make is it's the real rare thought of being fearful of winning, fearful of success. A lot of people don't talk about that, but I think that is just a lot more than what they talk about. For me, that's definitely what it was. And you're like, why would you be fearful of winning? Well, because I was my mind started going into what comes with that, with winning, the responsibilities now,
Right.
and how can I keep it up, and all these other things that come out.
Well, if you even can.
If I can, you know what I'm saying? Exactly.
What happens if you can't?
What if you can't? Or it opens up a whole other door, So mine was a fear of success, not a fear of failure. But those are a few of the things that can keep people from following your soul's calling.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
But I still strive to do it, and sometimes I still do with all those things that tear me from it. But I push past it eventually. But it's not easy. I'm still doing it. So I'm doing it right now, honestly.
What are some good things that can come from following your soul's calling, your passion? First, let's talk about what that means to follow your soul's calling. What is the calling? A calling, in my opinion, could be something that your gut feeling or a dream, or if you believe in signs, you saw an old lady on your way passing to work ask you if you were a model. And you go, I never considered being a model. Some people said I should be, but I never considered it.
Right.
That could be a sign that maybe you should pursue that path. Just an example.
Right.
So these are things that I would say that people tend to listen to or should listen to in order to gain an understanding of what a calling is, or what a calling may sound like or feel like.
What it feels like. I was gonna say what it feels like for me is almost a pull. You feel almost compelled to do this. And a lot of times you have no reasonings behind it, but you just know that feeling is so strong. I just know that
something
I feel
you're
like
drawn to.
Something I'm drawn to, right. That's what it's been like for me.
Yeah.
For several things that I feel like. And you can have several different callings, by the way. It doesn't have to be one. I feel that I do.
Yeah, I mean, at different times in your life, I think you have different callings.
For sure.
I believe.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it could come from a gut feeling, intuition, and some of the things that you following your intuition, your gut feelings or signs, could lead to some very good things.
Right.
It could lead to some very good things, yet uncomfortable, because it may be new.
Right.
And a lot of the things that we could come into our life, the really great things, are sometimes, often, not sometimes, but often very uncomfortable at first. You know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes we blow it. We blow it quickly because it's uncomfortable. I have many times in my life I've said, nah, fuck that. That's uncomfortable, man. I don't want to be uncomfortable right now. I'm gonna stick to what I know,
Right.
or what I've been doing. You know, when really what my higher self knows that this is gonna take me to a level that I'm not even aware of consciously,
Right.
but it's not my job to be. But out of fear and holding on to the past, I've, in my personal life, have clung to the past things or things that I was familiar with. I know a lot of other people do that too. And sometimes I think that we miss out on that next level we say we're asking for.
Right.
I know I do.
And what that is the ego, really. The ego's
Yeah.
clinging to what's familiar because that's what the ego's job.
Yeah.
I say that, to let you, as a side note, because people fight against the ego, but don't fight against the ego. The ego's doing its job. Understand what it's doing, and then you can sidestep around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the only reason you're clinging to anything like that. That doesn't mean you really need it.
Yeah.
It's just the ego makes you think that you need it, But like you said, the higher self already knows. It's giving you this. It's bringing you this calling because it knows the higher step. It has a higher viewpoint on where the plan is, on where the next step is. Mm-hmm. So it's that's the reason it's bringing you. It's calling you to those things, to that next move to make. That next business or dream or goal to pursue.
Yeah.
For that reason.
I mean, here's a question. What do you guys what do you think your calling is?
Yeah.
What do you think you're meant to be doing? What do you think you were or used to be meant to be doing, if that makes sense?
Right.
What were you meant to do then? What do you think you're meant to do now?
Right.
What do you think you're meant to be doing in the future?
Right.
I know that in the past, as a younger person, I knew for sure I was going to be an entertainer. Mm-hmm. And I became an entertainer.
Right.
I was right about that.
Right.
But even then, I knew I was supposed to be a father at some point in my life. I knew I want to be a dad.
Right.
I'm a dad. So now that I've achieved some of these different things that I was so sure and called and drawn to do, those things I feel satisfied with. But now I'm a different stage in my life. I'm 40 now. My mentality changed, my viewpoints changed, my feelings toward certain things have changed. Now I think I'm called to do certain other things that are less, what's the word? Then those things that I thought I was called to do required me to be a certain person, so to speak. Move a certain way. Now I move differently. Now the things that I'm called to do require me to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding. Definitely requires me to be more organized. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's who I've become now. I mean, I really can't stand chaos and disorganization now. It's no good for my thoughts. It's no good for my thought process. It's not good for my creativity. It's not good for my mental health, my physical health. So now I'm a different person in that way. Like I operate differently is what I'm saying. So which only makes sense why it aligns with certain things that I'm called to do now.
Right.
It aligns with that.
Right.
So yeah, just keep that in mind in regards to when you find that calling may require certain things of you that may be uncomfortable because it's new. Once again, like I said, it's new. It's a new you, so it requires new things.
Right.
A new mentality, a new situation, maybe even a new job, a new location.
A new
relationship. You have to be cautious and understanding of that before you. That's why I say be careful what you ask for. If you say you want a new beginning,
you have to be prepared for
what comes with it.
Right. Because a new you will require new things.
And that calling may mean a new you.
Right.
Right.
So, which it often does.
Yeah.
Which it often does.
But I mean, Like I said, in ways to know your calling is just listen to your gut instinct. Listen to what moves you the most. What makes you happy when you think about it. What gives you the goosebumps.
Exactly.
You know what?
Right, the physical. That's a good way to let's talk about that because that calling. People are probably asking, what does that calling feel like?
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
sometimes it could be a physical one, like he just said, that
Yeah.
goosebumps feeling you get every time you talk about that, or that heart pump that you know that butterflies or whatever, that excitement you get every single time. Bashar talks about the highest excitement. You know, for those who know what I'm talking about, look up Bashar. You know, he has a good talk on that as far as following your highest excitement, which is basically talking about what we're talking about as far as that feeling of knowing what that calling is.
Yeah.
You know, because you won't miss it. Let me tell you right now. If it's truly your calling, you ain't gonna miss it. You ain't gonna miss it because it'll find a way to.
It'll find a way no matter what.
Whether it's physical,
come back
or
around.
You hear it constantly. Someone will always constantly be telling you to. You look like you should be doing this. You look like you should be doing this. You hear it so much. Eventually, man, you're gonna have to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
So it could be a physical sensation. It could be someone auditory. Somebody could be saying it to you. It could be, there's all kind of signs,
Yeah.
But you'll know. That's all I can tell you. You will definitely know. But those are just some examples of how what that calling will feel like, right, or look like.
I remember my dad, our dad, he said when he was 19, something like that, like right out of college, he had a calling to be a preacher. That's how he ended up out here in California in the first place.
Right.
That's how we were born here because of our dad and mom moving here. But my dad's reason for moving here, essentially, from what I understand, is that he said, I remember him telling me when I was young that he had a calling to be a preacher, meaning that was what he thought his path was going. It's where he remember he was out of college. I guess he dropped out something, I don't know, but he was in college. But now he ended up traveling to a new place he'd never been before, a big city, the country boy. You know what I mean? He moved here and basically risked it all, essentially with no real promise of anything. He just went for it because he believed in that calling. That's what he thought he was going to do at that time.
Right.
Things change, people change, the situations change. But then, that's who he was then, and that's what he thought he was called to do. So, and which I respect because that's what we was talking about earlier. When that calling comes, you're going to put up or shut up. You know what I mean? You're going to make excuses and you're going to shy away, you're going to run away from it, you're going to run to it.
Right.
That's what my dad did, and we wouldn't be here if he hadn't.
Right.
So thank you for that, Pop.
Yeah.
And that's when we learned to follow your dreams. He always told us to do that. Whatever that may be, no judgments, just whatever it is your heart desires. If that's what you think listen to me wheezing and shit. If that's what I gotta start smoking. If you think that you're supposed to be a certain thing, a certain job, a certain person, a certain position, a certain location, pursue it. Give it a shot.
So let's talk about it though. Why? Why should they? Or what can happen if you don't? Why should they?
Yeah.
Right? I can tell you firsthand, and from what I've observed around people around me too. For people who didn't pursue your dreams or your soul's calling, so to speak, if you don't follow that, I've seen examples of people being extremely depressed and regretful, right?
Yeah.
Regretful and bitter, right? I'm sure we have all seen that before somewhere, right?
For sure, yeah.
And it feels like you have no life purpose.
Yeah.
Which, if you live a life, once again, I'm talking personal, if you live a life at any point without a purpose or a sense of purpose, because we all have one, but if you live a life without a sense of purpose, what you'll do is you'll reach to things that will try to make a void, to fill a void, that void of that feeling of not feeling that purpose. You'll reach to things trying to make, something out of that, but most of the time it'll be negative, right? And just leads you on really negative paths like drugs, overabundance or overindulgence in things, you know what I'm saying? Just really negative paths because you're reaching to things that aren't gonna fulfill you, right? So, so it's about, so why should you follow your fucking calling? Because otherwise, I guarantee you will go on that other route of looking for things, trying to fill a void of not having your purpose, of not having what feels most natural to you, of not having the reason why you're here in the first place. It's a horrible feeling to be on this earth and not know why you're here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking first experience, I'm telling you. It's the worst.
Yeah, essentially you'll be chasing a bunch of cheap thrills.
Yeah.
Trying to convince yourself that you're fulfilled, but The way you know you're not fulfilled is because you keep chasing the same thing.
Right.
It's
One
insanity.
thing to the next.
You know,
what I'm saying?
just a quick hits.
Right.
You know, but it's temporary.
Right.
It's not lasting. It's not sustainable joy.
Not at all.
Because that's what we're essentially trying to achieve. Even when we're trying to achieve our goals or our calling, we're still trying to achieve joy.
Right.
You know, or at least another level of it. Because we love ourselves. We love life. We want joy. And that's why when you get the feeling to pursue something, even if it doesn't work like you expect it to or turn out to be what you think it is, the joy is in the pursuit. Remember that. That you don't know what it's going to be, the outcome. But often because we don't know the outcome, we talk ourselves out of it.
Right.
When at the end of the day, no, we don't know. But that's not the point. The point is your intuition, your inner guidance, your God, your light, the person that loves you, the person that knows why you're here, is trying to tell you, go this way. That is the next step. Go this way.
Right.
That's how you're going to get that one thing you said you wanted, but you got to go here first.
Right.
I know it's uncomfortable, but see, that's the thing. We go, not always, but sometimes, often, we go against it. We drown that noise out. We drown that voice out. We drown it out, you know, and we go with what we know, like I said before, but it just leads us back to the same fucking circle.
Exactly.
Same path. Veer off that same path. Have some balls and finally do something different. Have some balls and trust yourself for once and see what happens. It may be the best next move you ever fucking make, but it takes some fucking heart, you know?
And say something else. And let's say for some reason, which I highly doubt, but let's say for some reason you do go, you go somewhere the wrong path, right? Which I don't believe there is. But let's say you go somewhere that you thought that might have been a little off of what you had planned, right? Well, guess what? You're gonna still be protected. You're still gonna be in a place that's meant for you, even though if it don't look like it, you know what I'm saying, from your mind, because guess what? There's always a higher mind that's always still guiding this whole thing.
Yeah.
So you're still gonna end up in the right place at the right time, no matter what. Is what I'm trying to get at. You can't go wrong. You can't. It feels like wrong sometimes because you can. I've done it many times. I think I need to not. I said I was supposed to go right, but why do I feel like I want to go left, even though this feels like the wrong move? But you go left, and guess what? Still end up in the right place.
Right.
Might took a little longer. Might have had a couple bumps on that way, but you still got there, and you were still exactly where you needed to be. And I promise you that, because I'm talking about something that we've experienced. Nothing else. I ain't talking about some shit I read in a book or a song. I'm talking about something I'm experiencing now, right? Which is a great reminder to myself. And hopefully this is a good reminder to you as well. But yeah, those are some of the things that can go, that why you should pursue that calling, right? We've talked about why you pursue that calling. We've talked about what that calling feels like and what it looks like, right? What the good is that comes with that, and what the bad is that comes with if you don't follow it, right? We talked about all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, all we're trying to do today is basically get you to realize that you're never alone. You've got guidance. You got constant guidance. And you're not just here to be here. Believe it or not, there is some type of purpose. There is some kind of reason. And you are the one that's going to have to do the searching to find that out. It's not going to fall in your lap. That's why we're talking about this. If you think it's going to just fall in your lap, it's just going to happen, you got yourself to blame if you don't ever get nowhere new.
I tried.
You know?
I waited for it to fall in my lap.
It's not going to happen that way. I guarantee it. Now, if you just at least pay attention to the signs, at least have a little trust in yourself that you won't let you fail. Have a little trust that maybe your grandma or maybe your mom and dad or maybe that teacher that sees something in you told you, I think you should look into this. Trust that maybe you should, that they might be right. Give it some time. Give it some thought. Give it some energy. You know? They might be right. That's all I'm saying.
Have some courage.
Have some courage. Have the courage to take that step. Follow your calling. See what happens. All right?
I truly do believe it could change your whole life.
Shit. It's taken me some really great places in my life. Just have a little heart, man. Have a little heart.
It's been more good than it's been bad. We'll say
For sure. Ain't nothing perfect. But I bet you, it'll still be one hell of a ride.
For sure.
Regardless of how it turns out. Because you know you'll be okay. You just don't know it consciously. But your soul, your spirit, it knows you're going to be okay. It's going to protect you. If you're pursuing the right thing, if it's telling you to do something, listen to it. See if it, trust in yourself enough that you love yourself enough to not let yourself not be okay.
As long as you're pursuing something with good intention, you'll never go wrong. Remember that.
So, pursue it. Listen to that calling, follow that calling.
No doubt.
I love you. I also love myself. But I love you because I love myself. So love yourself for yourself.